The Foundry, old, gray, and metal to the core.
Hey, welcome everyone. Welcome to the Foundry. I'm Bruce Moore. It's my partner Nick. Nick, you want to say hello?
Hey everybody, my name is Nick Ettinger. I'm the former vocalist for Possession and current vocalist for Frost Like Ashes. And I just want to welcome everyone here. We kind of do a little bit of a different type of review show. Each of us choose a heavy metal review to go through, and then we pick one non-metal album to review. And so we hope you like it. Like Bruce said, it's the third episode. And so if you do like it, please like and subscribe, and also share it.
Yes, and I think we decided we're going to be doing First Fridays, right? That'll be episodes, so you can look for new episodes every first of the month on a Friday.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan.
So I know we've been prepping, or at least I've been prepping like mad here for this and listened to these quite a few, and I'm anxious to jump in because I think we got some bangers. So if you want to take the lead with your pick for the week or the month, however it works, go for it.
Yeah. This time the three choices we had are very, very different.
Yes.
So it did make listening pretty interesting. So the one I picked was the new Hypocrisy album. It's entitled Worship. And it is, for me, just as good as anything else that they've released. It's a very, very strong album. It has a lot of songs on it. Actually, it's a true full-length album. And there isn't really a weak track to me. There's some that are, pretty standard Hypocrisy, but there are actually more standouts than probably some of their other albums, right, for me.
Did you find, and I know when I was listening to it, and I'm not super familiar with Hypocrisy, I obviously listened to them, but not, intently or with a lot of history on them. I found this to be maybe a little bit slower and maybe a little bit more melodic than I went back and listened to Virus, and I think it definitely was a little bit different and slower than Virus, maybe. Did you find that at all, or am I off base?
No, I think that's probably pretty accurate. I mean, they've always had mid-paced songs, and usually more of their most popular songs are that kind of mid-paced song, very much like Chemical or Worship. But this one only has maybe one or two songs that are pretty speedy, and the rest are pretty slow.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, like I said, I haven't been the biggest fan in the past, so it was I was expecting more of the stuff I had heard in the past, like that real in-your-face aggression kind of stuff. And I kind of loved that they slowed it down and buried the tempo a bit, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it would be interesting to maybe find some interviews and stuff and see if somebody asks him about that, to see why he chose to do it this way. Like I was saying, this album actually has more really strong tracks overall than I think some of the others. And those tend to be the ones that are very melodic, have a very great hook, and also have a little bit slower pace.
Yeah, I mean, I think it starts off.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that, man, Worship opens up and it's like this freaking sledgehammer to the face, and it's right into Hypocrisy.
Yeah. If you think back to the biggest Hypocrisy favorites, the opening riff for the whole album is like, hey, we're back and we're doing what we do best.
Right.
It's just so, Hypocrisy for me, they have speedy tracks and intense tracks, but the ones that I like the most, for me, they're just so enveloping and so relaxing.
Relaxing.
I can just Yeah, I can just sit back and just absorb it all, and it's just so heavy that, if you crank it up and it just kind of lifts you up and carries you along. Plus, he is one of my favorite vocalists. I think, for me personally, in death metal, he's to me the best death metal vocalist in the world.
Right. And he
Ever.
writes some pretty
His
great
range
stuff.
is amazing.
Yeah, and he writes some amazing stuff. Like, I wanted to bring up the lyrics. I mean, they're super political on this, and I even wrote down some that I thought were quite interesting. I am the one that enslaves you, brotherhood of the serpents. I am the one you need, and you are the slaves that feed me. I mean, he's like super on target and political.
Yeah, and that's what makes like a song like Chemical Horse so amazing and so apropos for this time that we're in. I think he's always been that way, and it just fits what he does. It's like you listen to his songs, and they have such authenticity, and you actually you can tell that he understands what he's singing about, and he has something good to offer the conversation.
And I think that's what I love about this show, because, like I said, I have heard of Hypocrisy and definitely have heard some of their stuff, but never really dove deep until you picked this, and I was forced to, re-listen to it over and over again so I can get a feel of it. And I was like, holy cow. Again, like last time you got me with Ram Chat. Crazy stuff.
Ram Chat last time.
Yeah, some really good stuff. So if you're listening, go check this band out. What are your favorites on here?
Yeah. My favorites are Worship, Chemical Horror, Children of the Gray is just fantastic, and They Will Arrive. But my top pick is Chemical Horror, just
Really?
because it is classic Hypocrisy. For me anyway, it's my favorite style that they play.
Right.
And the song is so current. It was just really powerful for me.
Right. So for me, I had They Will Arrive as well, but I strayed from you a little bit. I loved Greedy Bastards. Really, really like that.
Yeah.
And maybe
I knew when
go ahead.
I knew when I gave you this album that we were going to end up picking like the opposite songs, and I think that's probably going to be the case on your selection as well. Right. But that's what's kind of cool about our collaboration here, is that we do come from a little bit different backgrounds, and we have a little bit different styles, and so one album can speak to both of us, but just differently. So,
right. Were you actually able to pick out that I was going to grab Greedy Bastards?
That one, and I kind of felt like Brotherhood of the Serpent too, and you did mention. Yeah, you brought up that one.
Yeah,
too.
The lyrics were great.
So, yeah.
So, anyway, I would definitely say
yeah.
That's funny. We have our own little, little wheelhouse that we ride in. Even though we're expanding our horizons, I definitely must have that same go-to, I guess.
Well, I think it's just that we're starting to learn what each other likes.
Right.
But yeah, Hypocrisy, fantastic album, strong album. No matter which part of Hypocrisy you enjoy, right, you're going to find something on this to love.
I 100% agree. I would go ahead and check out Hypocrisy Worship is the name of the record, and I believe it came out sometime in November, maybe, right?
Sometime in the fall. Yeah, pretty recent.
Yeah, so you can still grab it and it still make a difference. So I'm going to go to mine then. This album just freaking blows my mind. I picked All Hail the Yeti, Within the Hollow Earth, and I don't know what you think of this band. And again, another band I had heard of, but I kind of did an interview with the singer not too long ago, and Connor Garrett is his name. And so I started prepping for it. I couldn't believe how, I guess the word is sludgy, right? I mean, I think it's like
I tried to put a label on it, and in fact, I had in my notes, what genre is this? I ended up I took that out because I kind of did a little bit of research, just to see where they were from and that sort of thing, and they just labeled them as a heavy metal band.
So that's the thing that cracks
and
me up too. Sorry, I'm stepping over you, but that's the thing that cracks me up too.
Go ahead.
They're from LA or California, LA, maybe Hollywood, but they have that sound that to me, just listening to it, sounds like I Hate God or Crowbar or Corrosion of Conformity, that real, maybe even Clutch, that like real southern swampy sort of stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I felt like it kind of, each song was a little bit different. And his vocals change depending on the song. The type of riffs they're playing depends. It changes upon this depending on the song.
Right.
I felt like there was some grunge aspects to it, although heavier.
Right.
Even some metalcore riffs here and there. And now that you bring up the bands you did, maybe that actually is a little bit closer comparison than what I was thinking in my head. But the band that kept coming back to me was Thungle. I don't know if you're familiar with Thungle at all. Another LA band, oddly enough.
Yeah.
Who I would firmly put into just the heavy metal realm.
Yeah.
And they are a little slower sometimes. But yeah, Thungle, his vocals, the ones that I would maybe more associate with maybe metalcore or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
He had this tendency to drag the last words and let very, very much not unlike the vocalist for Thungle.
I think it's I thought it was fantastic, and I think it's super infectious. I mean, there are definitely grooves to it. It's not just like in your face, sledgehammer stuff. There's definitely grooves to it, and it's definitely got a vibe for sure.
Yeah, and a great storytelling.
That's on my list here too, the storytelling. Yeah.
So what were your picks out of this album? Let's see if they match what I was thinking.
First off, I would say Headless Valley.
Mm-hmm.
With that, I mean, it's got like a creepy, haunting tale of, I don't know, a valley of headless men or something, and just the whole package, I think, fits with that whole swamp sort of vibe. And that was my first pick. Yeah. Did you call that?
I did not. I was thinking Funeral Heart, Cold Dead
that's
Leaves.
number 2.
Okay, we're gonna be more what you were gonna pick, but Headless Valley was one of my top picks as well. And then I don't know how to pronounce this one, Nita Velier, or something of that nature. I really liked that one. But my top pick is Cry of the Wahila. It's another great story sort of thing. And so they have some songs that I definitely feel like are the riffs are heavy metal. Right. And that song was one of them, and that's probably why it connected with me a little bit more. Whereas some of the other ones have some really rhythmic, heavy riffs in them, a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I guess your grunge comparison or hard rock or heavier hard rock is at some point you can see some of that influence in there as well.
Yeah, overall, this was probably the first one that overall I didn't necessarily enjoy every single song on it, or they weren't all my cup of tea.
Right.
But there's a few of them on there that I definitely have hit heart on my Spotify.
Right.
So they'll be in my
you'll revisit
my lists.
Right.
To listen to again. Yes, absolutely.
Awesome.
But a very, very strong band, and I mean, just so well put together. Everything.
I think so. Great production. Another one I'd say, go ahead and check out this record from
absolutely.
Untitled Yeti for sure. So
especially if you just want heavy metal,
Yes.
We're so kind of there's a heavy metal void. Everything has to be death metal or black metal or hardcore, whatever, and to have a band that's just metal is kind of nice.
Yep. So all hail the Yeti within the hollow earth. That's my pick for the month. So now,
Yep.
I don't know if I threw you for a loop on this one, but I'm sure when he did the research, there's method to my madness. I picked, and I don't know how to, do you know Italian very well?
Her name,
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's I'm sorry, I just butchered it. Mariangela and DEMURTAS.
All right, so that's what I'm going to go with too.
Yes.
And the EP, the 4-song EP, it's called Dark Ability. Probably most of our listeners are aware of her from Tristiana, and I believe it's Arders, sorry. She's been with those bands for a while now, a couple, 10 years or more. And this is something completely different. It's very dark and ethereal and beautiful as far as I'm concerned. It's great.
It, yeah, you did throw me for a loop. Not when you picked it, but when I listened to it.
Right.
Because like you said, if you know who she is, you know the bands that she's in. And there was another one that I watched a video on, and I failed to write down the name of it. It's another band that starts with an A. The guitar player is the more famous person in that band, and she does I think just one song with them. Such strong vocals, but again, it's just so completely different than this. And one thing I usually try to look up is where the artists are from. Are you aware of where she's actually from?
No.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. In the video for the first track called City, it seems like she's in Portugal during that video.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if she is from Portugal or not, if she's Portuguese. I wish I knew, but the whole point is that this album has a dark European pop feel to it. I don't know if you watch any Scandinavian murder mysteries or cop shows or things like that. They use this type of music as their intro music.
Oh, really?
Quite a bit, and tons of just dripping and reverb. It really takes you away and puts you into a place, and this album you have to listen to with headphones on, and you need to listen to it as loud as your eardrums can handle it.
And I think all the way through as well. This is one of it's only 4 songs straight through because it's a story.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think you can tell that it was written, or I'm hoping that it was written over the past couple years that we've dealt with, because it's really deep and it's really dark, but I wouldn't say all negative. I mean, there's definitely some positive stuff to it.
No, it's not necessarily negative, but it's real.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that I kept coming back to is it is emotional.
Yes.
And that's why just you need to put yourself in a place where nothing else is distracting you, that you can just really get enveloped inside these songs. And her voice, the strength of her voice and the range of her voice is just unbelievable. And she'll have different ways of singing throughout the album. Like Crossing Time, her voice is completely different than the other 3 songs.
Yeah.
And the last song,
my favorite.
I almost broke down.
Yeah, that's my favorite. That was my favorite song
too. I almost broke down in tears multiple times listening to that song.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So whether you're a fan of the heavy stuff or the other, whatever you're a fan of, I think when music hits you like that, then you know it's good, right? When it speaks to you on an emotional level.
This is an album that it does not matter what you listen to yourself. You owe it to yourself to listen to it one time through at least. It may not be your cup of tea, but it's so strong, and it's so different from what she's probably done in the past. I haven't listened to a lot of what she's done in the past. I just know of her. But I'm a very musical person where the music is important for
Sure.
me. And this is not a musical album. Everything is crafted around her vocals.
Yes.
Everything is crafted around her singing. And there is actually a space in one of the last songs. I think it's Crossing Time. It might be Forgive Her. It's the last track where there actually is a musical interlude, or so I thought. But then I listened to it again very loudly and hear her vocals are actually repeating through that entire little musical interlude. So in reality, her vocals are running from the beginning of the album to the very end of the album. And I wouldn't want it any other way. What were your top picks? I mean, there's only 4 songs. But...
Yeah, it's only 4 songs. I think my favorite was we already alluded to it. It's definitely Forgiveness. Yes, it's the last one on the record. I was just blown away. Not only is it emotional and dramatic, but it's just super perfectly crafted, and the production is phenomenal.
City was my other pick.
Okay.
That one's just a great classic song.
Yeah.
Her singing to the city.
Yeah.
Is such a great concept. Yeah, really good. The other 2, classic, Crossing Time. They're both great songs too.
Oh yeah, I don't think there's anything bad on here.
But I felt like those bookends were just like a level above.
I 100% agree. Well, good. So
I wonder. You need this is a person maybe you need to interview in the future, and if you haven't already.
I have not, but yeah, I'd like to do that for sure.
Because I would love to know, is this the music she likes to create herself? Since it's so different from everything else. And who knows what the answer would be. But it just felt like this was coming from somewhere deep inside of her.
I 100% agree. And maybe it's what we've all been going through, and who knows. But yeah, maybe we'll get her on and see what we can talk about. But at any rate, that's going to wrap up today. And we had a lot of good music, I think. And I think that went really well. You've definitely swayed me more towards the Hypocrisy side as a casual listener, but that one's been, since I've listened to it so much, it's ingrained in my head now. And I hope that the other 2 were, at least something you'll revisit here and there.
Dark Ability will be on loop for sure when I'm in my certain moods. And the All Hail the Yeti. There's definitely songs on there that are going to be on my playlist as well, because sometimes you're just starved for heavy metal, and they do it really well.
I agree. So if you've made it this far, as Nick already said earlier, please go ahead and like us, subscribe us, share us, send us messages of what you think of these records. Also send us things you want us to listen to. We're open for suggestions along the way. You have anything else?
Absolutely. Well, it was another great time with you. Thanks for having me along for the ride.
Always. I'm enjoying this, and hopefully not only are we learning about different artists, but hopefully the people listening are as well. I think that's the game plan anyway.
Yep. Kind of open up people's horizons. So.
Yep, and ourselves as well, because I'm learning about all kinds of stuff. So.
Yep.
All right, man. Be well.
All right.
All right. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.
Bye.